Hey, John here. So I picked this umbrella up at Home Depot. It was originally 600 bucks for this booger, and then they kept having it on sale. I'm supposing, the pandemic didn't help much because they weren't moving a lot of things, but it went down to 350 bucks. So I said, yeah, I'm gonna get it because the umbrella that I used to have, well, I still got it, but that went through the center of the table, one of those deals. But I had to mount it down there. It's kind of problematic because then I can't move the table back and forth. So I like this kind of umbrella where you can swing it out. It actually tilts, it swivels, does a lot of things, and it's got 11-foot wingspan, and one of those solar deals that has the lights under there for night. But what I don't like about it is where the boatster is standing. It's taking up like a third of the deck. Well, not quite a third, but it's taking up a huge amount of space. That footprint there is filled with sand and weighs about 220 pounds because I put 4.5 bags of 50-pound bags of sand. So I was going to build a little table for it around the base so you don't trip over this thing. But getting around, this chair doesn't really slide out. It's kind of problematic. So if you come across this video, maybe some alternate ideas on what to do if you're running the same problem as me, especially if you got a small deck. This ain't exactly a small deck, but this thing is taking up quite the space. So I'm gonna come up with a different plan. I got some ideas, and we'll see what happens. Well, the first idea I had was, you see that base down there, 4 bolts? I was thinking, well, I'm just gonna mount this to the deck, find a joist underneath and just mount it. But that's a pretty small footprint, that little, it's pretty good gauge metal, but that footprint, there's a reason why this sand is filled here, and this is at least 220 pounds, plus the metal and whatever. But I know the wind will take this. Even that guy ordered, that's a newer umbrella, but the same size umbrella. I came home one day and this table was clear across the wind just took it like a kite, and because I got it mounted into the table there, and it just wind picked it up like a friggin' in-flight missile, just took it somewhere. And it was actually a different table, a round table, and the glass broke, everything shattered. So I know the wind is a factor here, so mounting that to the deck is probably going to be problematic because it's probably just going to bend right over something. Even if a board ripped out, I wouldn't worry about that, but bolt snap, so I've got another idea, and I'll show you. Hold on. Alright, so that's what that booger looks like when it's open, and it does cover the table. And like I said, it does swing, it does rotate. I can rotate it right around and have it in the yard if I wanted to. And it also goes at an angle, and in case you don't want full sun, that type of thing. So I think I got enough room because this table is scooted this way more towards the house, but as you can see, the umbrella is kind of impeding on the window. You can't even open the window fully, the casement window there, and it's okay where it's at, don't get me wrong, but I want to do something different because I want my space back. So I want to push this table back and have the space to get around, and I need it out here a little more where the old one was. And so this is what I'm going to do. Let me take you over here. Okay, so this thing, like I said, I slid the table forward to get this, and I have to leave room so you can get by. And like I said, you have to slide the chair out of the way to get this thing, to go up. Pull the chair back in, and you don't have much room. You don't have much room to get in and out. I mean, there's enough room, don't get me wrong, but, it's just too crowded. So what I'm going to do is, I want my table back to where it was in a chair here. So I'm going to mount this thing down there, right? From the ground, and that way I can open it up out here and swing it around here if I need to. And how I'm going to do that is with, well, it's better to show you. Alright, so this is what I'm going to do. This is a lolly column I picked up at my local hardware store. I had this spring, 35 bucks for this pole. It's as short as they come, and I think it's 7 feet. And the problem is, well, the good news is it's cement filled, so it's solid. And what I'm going to do is bury it, obviously, 3 or 4 feet, whatever it takes to get the umbrella at the right height. Encase it in cement. I will have to weld a plate on the top of, I'll figure that out when it comes. So let's see if this works, because if it doesn't work, well, I guess I'll have a pole in the yard, but I think it'll work. Let's see what happens. Alright, so that stock piece there is it's 1/4-inch steel at the base of it anyways. 1/4-inch steel, and the only thing I got is that thickness is, this thing came off a base of a stair climber or something that I saved, threw it out back. Figured I need it one day, and here's today, I need it. So this is, I think, 3/16, so I'm going to just chop some of this up and double it up and use that to weld it on the lolly column there. And that's what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to, at first I thought, well, maybe I'll just chop this mechanism off or saw it here and just weld it to the plate. But I don't want to do that because if this doesn't work out, I still want this piece to go back to the original deal. So I don't know if I'm going to mirror this image or just use a square plate or something. Square plate would obviously be easier, but so I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'll figure something out. But that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to weld this piece of steel to the pole, bury the pole, put it in cement, raise the umbrella, and hope for the best. We'll see what happens. So I'm okay leaving this rough cut with the plasma cutter, because as long as the bolts go through, the other piece is going to cover it, so you're not going to see it. And once I paint this up, you know, it'll be fine. So that's where I'm at. I'm just going to smooth these edges out a little more. And I think because this is pretty thick, I think I'm just going to do the one, because putting them two next to each other, this isn't 1/4 inch, but it is pretty thick. And because I'm going to add, you know, when this is on a pole, triangle pieces for support, this is going to be plenty strong. I mean, there's a pretty big chunk of metal, so let me clean it up a little more and I'll show you what I'm talking about when I get it closer. So I was cleaning this pole up, you know, and it's cement filled, obviously. The thing's heavy as shit, but it's pretty thin gauge if you look at it. So now I got to worry about blowing through this because I'm putting this much thicker gauge on here. But you know, because the thing's so heavy, I just didn't realize I mean, this is thinner than a fence post, you know, like a chain link fence post. Pretty thin stuff. So, but there is cement behind it, so hopefully just put that on there, we'll tack it and see what happens. But I need this to be pretty stout, and then once I get this welded on, I'll add them angle gussets just to support it. And that being said, with the angle gussets, well, we'll see what happens. Alright, so I got it fried on there, and I'm just going to go ahead and clip these points off so nobody gets cut open. So if this is what do you call it, the Harbor Freight welder, you know, I think this one costs $200 because it has the ability to put gas to it and make it a MIG welder, but I've always used it as a flux core welder. And I gotta tell you, if anybody tells you that, you know, those things are garbage, I've been using it for 8 years. It's never let me down. The penetration is, you know, more, I'm telling you, for $100 you could buy a welder. So I was just thinking, if somebody's watching this video and they don't have ways or means to weld it, I mean, these welders today are so cheap. Like I said, this is from Harbor Freight, but you know, these Chinese knockoffs, if you're not somebody that welds all the time, just get yourself a cheap $50 welder and you can stick two pieces of metal together. So anyway, so I'm done with this. Like I said, I'm gonna buzz these off. Piece is gonna marry up to this piece. However, you know, I want to paint this. I'm not going to leave it this color. I got to find, see if I can find this hammered look bronze or whatever it is. But before I do that, let me finish this pole. Add some rebar somewhere down here, about 3 or 4 feet. That's going to be underground. Just like I said, to help support it. But it's all going to be encased in cement, anyways. I don't think I need the rebar, but I'm just looking at this, and the base up there on the deck is like 4 feet wide. This is only whatever, but this is up encased in cement. I think everything's going to be fine. I'll be the first to know when the thing goes away, but anyways, that's where I'm at. Alright, so I got her primed up, just for this section. I have a feeling, according to my measurement, right about here is all I'm going to need out of the ground. The rest of this is going to be underground, and I went to my local hardware store to try to find some paint that matches this stupid umbrella thing, and this is what I came up with. It's close enough, because I'm not going to Home Depot's place because I refuse to stand in line outdoors to get into a goddamn box store, big box store. So anyways, let me paint this up, see what it looks like, and go from there. Alright, so it's a dead match, right? So the missus wants to go for a bicycle ride, so I'm done for today. I'll let that dry, then I'll plant this thing tomorrow, put the umbrella up, and hopefully it won't fall over, yeah? So let me continue when I get a chance. Well, that wasn't too bad. Got some earth. The cement was only like, I don't know, 3-4 inches. Broke right through with the big lily hammer. So let me dig this down, and I just gotta find out where this new pole I bought or made there to where it was on the deck, so I can clear the railing obviously and have it so, well, you can't see, but you know, walk under the thing without getting decapitated. Yeah. Seriously, what are the odds? I don't think I punctured it, but that's a poly pipe, and I don't see how the hell that's even possible because the foundation is there. How is this poly pipe for the sprinkler system there? I still got plenty of room here to do what I gotta do, but I took a nice big swing, boink. So now I gotta turn the sprinklers on, see if that leaks. If that leaks, you know how it goes. One thing leads to another. Alright, so it's dinner time. I gotta quit for today, but I'm about halfway down, 2 feet. I gotta get another 2 feet, and it's gonna be a lot of cement, but I'm gonna encase that little dent that I put in that hose. I was gonna repair it, but it doesn't leak. But once it gets encased in cement, it's got nowhere to go. Even if it does break or leak, it'll be in cement, so that'll work. Alright, so it's the next day, and it's about, I don't know, 140 degrees out here, give or take 60. So I don't know what that stuff is, the pollen there. It's all over the roof, you know, like caked on. The paste in the air is like unbelievable. But so I only have oak trees and pine trees, so I know pine cones come from an oak tree, right? And I know those little helicopters that fall out come from an oak tree, but so I don't know what this stuff is, what it comes from, this stuff here, but it's all over the place and you can barely breathe. But anyways, I've got it done. I've got this little piece extended up, and I'm about to put this pole on. I gotta tell you, well, I gotta add some soil there and add some grass, but this thing is like I mean, I couldn't you know, this pole is 8 feet tall and only about I don't know, what's that, 3 feet maybe sticking out. So most of it's buried, most of it's in cement. That's probably going to be there for another 1,000 years because there's no way I'm taking it out of there if this doesn't work out. But I've got everything mounted, and you know, it is solid as Sears is like to say. But so I'm going to put this pole in, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Jeez, I feel like I got to sneeze here. But let me set the camera up. So I think this is going to work out good.